back, everyone. Hope you're doing amazing. Toldinstone has a video for us called How a Syrian Desert Town Rewrote Roman History. We love our Roman history here, of course. We love Toldinstone. I'm glad you're here. Let's jump right in and see what it's all about. Dura-Europos, the Pompeii of the desert.
Dura-Europos was not an important city. It was located far from the great trade routes and cultural centers of the Roman East. Its population never exceeded 5,000. But today's video will explore how this insignificant settlement in the Syrian desert transformed our understanding of the Roman world. This is a collaboration with my friends at Historia Militum, who will be covering
I got a new channel to check out. Thank you. Thank you.
the siege and fall of Dura-Europos. You'll find their video linked in the description. Dura stood on the banks of the Euphrates in what is now eastern Syria. Founded by the Seleucids in the generation after Alexander the Great's conquests, it fell to the
This is part of the Diadoches.
Parthians around the end of the 2nd century BC. It remained under Parthian control for more than 250 years. The Romans briefly overran Dura during Trajan's Parthian War and definitively annexed the city during the reign of Marcus Aurelius and Lucius Verus. Thereafter, Dura was a stronghold on Rome's eastern frontier, with a large garrison housed in a separate military quarter. Despite, or because of, this protection, the city was attacked twice by the armies of Sassanid Persia. The first assault, around 253, seems to have been repelled. In the aftermath, however, Dura's civilian population fled or was evicted, and the Roman garrison occupied the entire settlement. The most vulnerable section of the city wall was reinforced with a massive embankment of sand and rubble, which buried, and so preserved, whole blocks of buildings.
Similar to Pompeii, how it's kind of preserved, so I understand what we're getting with right here.
The Persians returned around 256. This time, after a hard-fought siege, they captured Dura. The city was pillaged, and its ruins were abandoned to the desert. Dura-Europos was never reoccupied. The site remained virtually untouched until 1920, when British soldiers digging a rifle pit revealed a wall glowing with ancient paintings.
Okay, so 1920 is when they start to unearth all of this. It was really interesting, these pictures.
This discovery inspired an excavation campaign jointly sponsored by Yale University and the French Academy of Inscriptions and Literature. Between 1928 and 1937, a team that often included upwards of 300 workmen cleared nearly a third of the site. Later, a Franco-Syrian team continued work on a smaller scale until the dig was ended by the Civil War. Most of Dura's buildings were made of mud brick and have left only foundations. But throughout the site, and especially
Shoe? Is that a die?
beneath the embankment that the Romans built to strengthen the city wall, archaeologists have discovered a dazzling range of artifacts. Some of the most interesting were connected with the Roman military. The 20th Palmyrene Cohort, a mixed unit of infantry and cavalry, was stationed at Dura, along with detachments from several eastern legions. Military buildings occupied about a quarter of the city. Most followed designs current throughout the empire, from the baths, supplied with Euphrates water by an aqueduct, to an amphitheater with room for 1,000 spectators.
Obviously, we know as Rome spreads, they basically have a template for their city, so makes no, there's no surprise there, basically.
Some civilian houses were subdivided to serve as barracks. Others were occupied by officers. The so-called House of the Scribes featured a portrait of Heliodorus the Actuarius, an officer responsible for dispersing wages. The arid environment of Dura preserved an impressive array of military equipment, including the only scutum, the curved rectangular shield carried by legionaries, ever found intact.
Whoa.
Another remarkable discovery was the oldest extant map of Europe, apparently sketched on a leather shield cover to commemorate a campaign. Archaeologists also found 2 sets of horse scale armor and 3 oval shields painted with scenes from the Trojan War.
What type of scales is that? Is that like real like alligator scales, or is that like some sort of like thin metal?
The most significant find connected with the military, however, was the archive of the 20th Palmyrene cohort, housed in a small temple next to the base. Among the more than 200 documents uncovered there was the Feriale Duranum, a unique calendar of the festivals and sacrifices by which Roman soldiers honored the emperors and gods.
Birthday of Julius Caesar. Obviously, in terms of the populace, in terms of like after he was gone, and then Augustus made sure that his legacy did not get tainted, as you guys can see. Just evidence here honoring his birthday still hundreds of years later after his death.
Along with a roster listing the names and ranks of more than 1,000 soldiers, the archives also contained a number of daily reports, each indicating the day's password, orders, and honor guard for the unit standards. We'll explore the most fascinating finds from Dura-Europos after a brief word about this video's sponsor. Even before the Civil War, it was any that and that you can thousands of map Greek city. And turning to our topic. Although Dura was founded as a Greek city and always maintained the institutions of a polis, Greek was only one element in its cultural constitution. Many citizens had both Greek and Semitic names. Inscriptions mention Demetrius, known as Nabusamus, Alexander, who is Amios, Heliodorus, called Samspanus. Greek names seem to have often been used in political contexts, non-Greek in the contexts of religion and commerce. The gods of Dura also had multiple names. Zeus Kyrios was Balshaman, Artemis was Nanaya or Asenath Kona.
I really need to get like my Greek gods in check so I can follow along. I know obviously Zeus. Not sure too much about Artemis though, but I'm following.
Beside the Greek pantheon, the gods of Palmyra, Hatra, and a nearby city called Anath were worshipped. The city's 19 temples blended classical, Mesopotamian, and local architectural traditions. Most had a central courtyard, ringed by shrines and rooms used for ritual dining. The principal sanctuary was usually painted with images of the god surrounded by worshippers. An example found in the Temple of Bel showed a Roman officer named Julius Terentius offering sacrifice. Beneath the embankment that buttressed the
This is the layout? Crazy. So you got military and public buildings in blue, temples in green, baths in red, dwellings and shops in orange, and then you have, I'm guessing, unknown places where we don't really know. Maybe there's not enough evidence to suggest what it would be in these other blocks.
city wall, the Yale expedition discovered a 3rd century synagogue decorated with paintings. Apparently untroubled by the commandment against graven images, the Jews of Dura had frescoed almost every part of their main assembly room.
Wow.
The frescoes depicted the sacred history of the Jewish people. Among the 58 surviving scenes were the discovery of the infant Moses, the parting of the Red Sea, the anointing of David by Samuel, and Esther with Mordecai. Their style closely recalled that of the paintings in Dura's pagan temples. The same artists were likely responsible for both.
It's insane that they're able to uncover all this stuff.
Greek and Aramaic inscriptions commemorated the work of decoration, and Persian dipinti, apparently left by visitors from Mesopotamia, commented appreciatively on the paintings. A short distance from the synagogue, in what at first appeared to be a typical house, the archaeologists discovered a Christian church dating to the early 3rd century. On one side was a meeting hall with space for about 100 worshippers.
And at that time, persecution was at large. I think so. So this is very interesting.
On the other, a baptistry with a large font. The baptistry had been decorated with frescoes. Though less well preserved than those in the synagogue, some scenes could be identified. They illustrated both the Old and the New Testaments, Adam and Eve, David and Goliath, Christ walking on water, the three Marys visiting the tomb. Like so much else from Dura, these frescoes are unique, shedding a precious and unexpected light on early Christian iconography.
Really cool.
The end of Dura-Europos was brought about by an epic clash between the Roman Empire and Sassanid Persia. Follow the link on screen and in the description to watch Historia Militum's video on the siege and fall of Dura-Europos.
That's awesome. Got a new channel to check out. Let me if you guys have checked out Dura. Wait, he said Dura.
Follow the link on screen and in the description to watch Historia Militum's video.
Historia Militums. If you guys have specific videos, because I think a good start, of course, would be to piggyback off this, the ancient chemical warfare video, this one right here, if that's the video. I think that's a good start. But let me know if you guys have specific videos from that channel. If you like that channel, that would be interesting to check out. Thank you guys for being here. It's really interesting looking into the past in different ways, archaeologically speaking. It's a prehistory way of looking, but you can connect the dots after the fact. But yeah, this is recent times, 200, 300 AD. That's not that far away comparatively to the span of history. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Peace out and bye-bye.